Today on Morning Meditations, I want to talk about the importance of actually going in person to your local church and spending time fellowshipping there.
This is Morning Meditations with me, Pastor Ryan Hayden of Bible Baptist Church. To hear more or find out more about our church, visit BibleBaptistMattoon.org.
Hebrews 10, 24 and 25 are familiar verses. They say, "And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as you see the day approaching." We live in a day and age when you can consume preaching from the comfort of your couch or on your smartphone. The pandemic of the last year, along with the restrictions created to combat it, made a lot of churches, including ours, step up their online content game. And I really want to make only one point in this video. Watching a church service online is not what God intended for church. Now, it might be better than nothing. It might be a way of reaching people, but it's not God's intention for church. It's not an adequate long-term substitute for actual church attendance. Church was never supposed to be about passively sitting in a pew and consuming a sermon anyways. Look at those verses again. Verse 25 is probably the most familiar verse on the importance of church attendance in the whole Bible. We're not to forsake assembly. We're to meet together. But what I want to point out is the reason we're not supposed to forsake assembly. The Bible doesn't say, don't miss church because you need the sermon, or don't miss church because it's a bad habit. Now, both of those things might be true, but they were never the main reason you're supposed to be in church in the first place. The reason to go to church is so that we can provoke one another to love and good works and to exhort one another. The reason you need to be in church is not about you. It's about how God wants to use you to encourage the other people there. Now, let me be blunt about our current situation. I've said from the beginning that we should be as patient and accommodating and understanding as possible to those that are scared of COVID. But what I want to say to you today is that it's probably time to get back to church. We don't have just one, we have 3 vaccines that are readily available. Anybody who wants a vaccine at this point can get one. As of a few days ago, 87 million Americans have been vaccinated, and of that number, only 500 have been hospitalized and only 88 have died of COVID. So the chances of dying from COVID after being vaccinated are literally 1 in a million. On top of that, we have huge groups of people who have natural immunity from already having COVID. I guess what I'm trying to say is this: get vaccinated if you need to. Wear a mask if you need to. But it's time to get back to church, and don't just come to consume. Come back to minister. God's intention for us, for church, is for us to be there in person to minister to one another. So come back to church, and when you do, come back to fellowship and to encourage. Don't forsake the assembling of yourselves.